So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session we will be talking about the Indian Express newspaper, and now before moving further I would like to tell you that we have started this new series, that is UPSC Prelims PYQ analysis. Herein we will be talking about the past 6 years of the questions over here from 2019 to 2024. Herein we will go for the comprehensive coverage. We will also talk about some of the questions which are tricky in nature and how to actually approach such question. All these kind of discussions will be there. So we have started it from 15th of February, and every night or around 9 p.m. in the evening you will be getting one episode over here. So we'll be completing the subjects like polity, history, geography, science and tech, environment, and you can say some part of the one miscellaneous episode will also be there. So we will try to go for the comprehensive coverage of PYQ so that your preparation for the prelims can be better, and when we talk about the UPSC 2025, that becomes even more important for you. Okay, so now with that, let's start our discussion over here. Again, I'm telling you, we have started to upload the episodes. We have already gone for the polity first and second part, and every night 9 p.m. Okay, anyways, let's move further. So here today we will be talking about the PYQs, and then when we talk about the PYQ of the day, every day we take one such question from the PYQ and we try to understand the approach or the methodology behind that. We try to see that what kind of language UPSC is using over there. Then geography through maps, we will go through this particular section. Herein we are talking about world geography right now. We have already discussed about the major hills or the mountain ranges. We have talked about the Mediterranean, we have talked about the Black Sea, we have talked about the Caspian Sea. So in that direction we will be moving slowly. We will try to cover those parts which are asked by UPSC again and again. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, we will be talking about important articles over here, that India US developments. After that, India's first biobank which has been established, so we will talk about that. And then concerns over the soya oil imports. When we talk about the imports from Nepal, soya, we actually import soya from various countries, but recently it has been seen that the imports from Nepal has disproportionately increased. Nepal does not have such kind of domestic production, but still these imports are increasing. So we will see why is that, what is the reason behind that. Okay, so that is there. When we talk about the India US developments, recently you know that Mr. Modi has visited USA, and considering that there are various things which has been talked about, I hope you have actually gone through that in the past 2 days, but we will be going for the comprehensive coverage of that. So that is there. Then for your own read, there will be few articles. We will be going for the passing reference of the few articles, and then there will be practice questions. First we will be discussing the you can say the explanation part of the question which was given to you in the last lecture, and then we will be going for the today's practice question. Okay, so let's move further and start our discussion. First is PYQ of the day. Namcha Barwa, Garhwal Himalayas, Nanda Devi, Kumaon Himalayas, Nokrek, Sikkim Himalayas. Now what they have done here is that they have given the peak and they are asking you that in which mountain range that particular peak is. Okay, which of the following pair gives given above is or are correctly matched. Okay, now the thing is, my idea is not to tell you answer over here. My idea is to tell you that if they are asking about these peaks, there are high chances that they will repeat question from these or these areas. Okay, other than that also, when we talk about the Garhwal Himalaya, Kumaon Himalayas and Sikkim Himalayas, you will be seeing that these are part of your Himalayas. So that means that throughout Himalayas, be it Trans Himalayas, Greater Himalayas, Middle Himalayas or Lesser Himalayas or Purvanchal Himalayas, they will be asking question from that. Okay, so considering that, let's see over here. If you look at the first here, Namcha Barwa, if they are talking about, yes, Namcha Barwa. Namcha Barwa, you can see this over here. This peak is somewhere over here, that is there in Arunachal Pradesh. Namcha Barwa is the peak from where you can see the Himalayas are taking turn, okay, towards the Purvanchal Himalayas or the northeastern Himalayas. So that over here you will be finding Namcha Barwa. Okay, so obviously if you look at the option which is given, they are talking about the Garhwal Himalayas. Garhwal Himalayas are not there over here, so we can say that Garhwal Himalayas is the basically this region over here. Okay, so first is wrong. Okay, then this option is gone, this option is gone. Now we have 2 or 3. Okay, now Nanda Devi, Kumaon Himalayas, Nokrek in Sikkim Himalayas. Okay, so if you talk about the Nanda Devi over here, so this is the reason. There can be a chance that here we can see about this. Okay, so that can be one of the option over here. Okay, so here sorry So here when we are talking about this particular map, this particular place, as I told you, this is your Garhwal and the Kumaon Himalayas. When we talk about this region, when we talk about the region of your Uttarakhand sector, so that is Uttarakhand is basically divided in two parts. One is your Garhwal Himalayas, one is Kumaon Himalayas. Okay, so considering that Nanda Devi is there in Kumaon Himalayas, so you can see this is correct. Coming to the next one, okay, obviously if this is correct, option B would be your right answer, that is there. Then coming to the Nokrek over here, you can see that is part of your Garo Hills. Garo Hills are there in Meghalaya. Okay. So here in the option they have given that this will be in Sikkim. Sikkim and Meghalaya are two different things over here. When we talk about the region over here, this part over here, that is basically your Sikkim. Okay. And when we talk about the Garo Hills, that is somewhere over here. Somewhere over here, this area is there. Garo, Khasi and Jayantia hills are there. Okay, so that is about the discussion over here. You can go through this particular map. Okay, so that is there. Now let's move further to the option B is your right answer. Let's move further to the next one, and you must have seen that this is how elimination works. Okay, if you can eliminate one part of this, okay, so you have eliminated the 50% choices. Now if you don't even know that whether this is correct or not, you can take a chance over here because you have 50% chance to get it correct. Okay, so that is how elimination works. Anyways, let's move further and let's talk about the here Red Sea. Okay, so today we will be talking about the Red Sea. Red Sea has been in news for various reasons. Okay, when we talk about the area of this particular area, here you can see Israel Hamas issue was there, so this area has been in news. Other than that, you must have heard about the Houthi rebels. Houthi rebels has created chaos in this particular region. They are here in Yemen. They are Yemen based rebels, but they are supported by Iran. Okay, so this is part of your Iran's axis of resistance, Hamas, Houthis and Hezbollah. Okay, so that is there. Now coming to the areas in the vicinity of Red Sea. So let's see. This area is Egypt over here. This is your Sinai Peninsula, which you should know. Now this area is your Suez Canal area, so that you should know. Okay, coming to the next part over here, this is Gulf of Aqaba. Now here you will be seeing that the Israel is having an opening in the Gulf of Aqaba, and Gulf of Aqaba is basically further connected to the Red Sea, so that you can remember. Okay, now coming to the next part over after Egypt, then here we have seen that Israel is having a boundary with Red Sea through Gulf of Aqaba. Then here you can say this some part of Jordan over here is also having that kind of opening. Then coming to the next part, that is basically your Saudi Arabia over here. Then Yemen, you know that was in news because of the civil war which is going on over there. Other than that, Houthi rebels are quite prominent over here. Then here this part, this is your Sudan. Okay, then you will be seeing this is Eritrea. Okay, from the African continent. Then we have Djibouti. Okay, so that is also having some kind of opening in the Red Sea. After that, you will be seeing that this particular strait over here, that is Bab al-Mandab. Okay, now this strait is connecting Red Sea with the Gulf of Aden, which is extended part of the Arabian Sea. Okay, so this you can remember, that is Bab al-Mandab. Okay, you can see if you are saying that the Gulf of Aden is extended part of Red Sea, okay, then you can say that Somalia is also over here having the, you can say, boundary. So if there is a question and they are asking about the countries having border with Red Sea, you have to go for the most appropriate answer. Okay, so considering that these are the countries which is having boundaries with the Red Sea, I hope that is clear. You can take a screenshot, or anyways you will be getting the PDF in the Telegram channel. Okay, now before moving further, Drishti IAS is offering you IAS foundation course for prelims as well as mains in offline mode, and for English medium batches are starting from 17th of February. Okay, that is today, and for Hindi medium batches are starting from 21st of February. For more details, you can directly visit the center, or you can call us on 87501 87501. Okay, now let's move further and start with the first part, some key takeaways from the India-US statement. Now, if I go into details of this, that would not be very much important for us, because right now our focus should be on prelims. But there are certain areas which has been mentioned over here which becomes important. I'll go through the headings. Okay, so you can go through this particular you can say slide over here, but we will be talking about that in detail. Okay, so first is a new 10-year framework of USA India major defense partnership in the 21st you can say century. So a new 10-year, this term if there is in news, so that is related to India US major defense partnership. Okay, coming to the next one, US platforms rising in Indian services. US would expand defense sales and co-production with India to strengthen the interoperability and the defense industrial cooperation. So here what they are doing is that in the defense sector they will be going for the sale and the co-production. Okay, so that are the two aspects which has been discussed over here. For Javelin and the Striker, for that they will be talking about. Then coming to the review of the international traffic in arms regulation, that is ITAR, in order to streamline defense trade, technology exchange and maintenance, spare supplies and in-country repair and the overhaul, that is also related to your defense sector. Coming to the next one, opening negotiations. Okay, so this year reciprocal defense procurement pact, reciprocal defense procurement. Why is that a reciprocal defense procurement pact? Because earlier you must have seen that India is having a surplus with USA, and Mr. Trump does not like that surplus. Okay, with any country when we are talking about, be it China, be it Mexico, or be it India, they do not like that kind of surplus. Okay, he has this his own economic policies. Considering that, they have gone for the reciprocal defense procurement pact, that they will be procuring some of the Indian equipments and we will be procuring their equipment. So that is there. Then accelerate defense, again same, technology cooperation across space, air defense, missile, maritime and the undersea technologies. Coming to next one, US announcing a review of its policy on the releasing 5th gen fighter and undersea systems to India. So that is also with respect to defense only. Then a new initiative, if we talk about the Autonomous System Industry Alliance, that is ASIA, that is Asia. Okay, so if they are asking about this Asia, just know that that is a alliance which has been a new initiative. The Autonomous System Industry Alliance, scale industry partnership and the production in the Indo-Pacific. This is not specific to India, but this is specific to the Indo-Pacific region. Asia refers to Indo-US cooperation in the area of underwater domain awareness technology. Underwater domain awareness technology, when we talk about the equipment like submarine, etc., when they are operating underwater, so for their surveillance we are going for this underwater domain awareness technology, that is Asia. Please remember that that is with respect to the Indo-Pacific region and the security and the, you can say, maritime security in this particular region. They are coming to India-US compacts. Now catalyzing opportunities for military partnership, that is compact. Okay, accelerated commerce and technology. So basically this is an comprehensive area wherein when we talk about the trade, so that is catalyzing opportunities for military partnership, accelerated commerce and technology. Okay, so that is your compact for 21st century to drive transformative change in the key access pillars of the cooperation, defense, investment, trade, energy security, technology, innovation, multilateral cooperation, people to people connection, etc. Now this here, that is all about defense. Okay, so when we talk about these areas like India US compact, about Asia, so this you should remember because these are the terminologies which can be asked in the UPSC examination. Now coming to the next part, that is trade and investment. Now there is a mission 500, that means that you will be going for enhancing the trade, bilateral trade over here, that is to $500 billion by 2030. Okay, so that is another thing. First tranche of mutually beneficial multi-sectoral bilateral trade agreement by fall of 2025. So they will be going for the bilateral trade agreement over here. Then coming to the next one, that is energy security. Hold on a second. Okay, so next is energy security, recommitting to the India-US energy security partnership, including oil, gas, civil nuclear energy, etc. US support for India to join the International Energy Agency as a full-time member. Coming to the next one, here now again IEA becomes important for you. Okay, so if you have time, just go through what is International Energy. You can say this particular body when we are talking about, that is your International Energy Agency. Okay, India is not yet a full-time member, so India is trying for that and USA will be supporting us. Okay, moving further, fully realize the India-US demonstrate mutual commitment to address the bilateral trade barriers, recognition of the India's investment in US Indian companies, ongoing investment worth somewhere around 7.355 billion and 3,000 quality jobs for the local families. That is not very much important for you. Okay, focus on this particular part, that is EIA and the mission 500 over here. Then 1, 2, 3 civil nuclear agreement by moving forward with plans to work together to build US designed nuclear reactors in India. Here, because of which you must have seen that there are talks about making changes to the domestic whatever laws we are having. Okay, so in that also we are thinking about changing. Enable collaboration to develop, deploy and scale up the nuclear power generation with a small modular reactor. India has this new you can say aspiration that we will be going for the manufacturing, you can say setting up the small modular reactors in India. So in that also USA will be helping. Okay, then moving further here, tech and innovation, launch of India US Trust Initiative. India US Trust Initiative that will catalyze the government to government, academia and the private sector collaboration to promote application of critical emerging technologies in the areas like defense, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, quantum, biotechnology, energy space. Okay, this is something which is quite normal. Just know that this is your trust initiative which is there, that is related to your science and technology. Forward, you can say forward a US India roadmap for accelerating AI. Okay, forward AI, this is okay. So this is for the AI. Then coming to the next one, India and US will work together to enable industry partnership and investment in the next generation data centers, cooperation on the development and access to the compact and the processor of the AI. So on the technology and AI they will be working together. Launch of Indus innovation and innovation bridge model after the success of the Indus X platform that will advance industry and academics, foster investment in the space, energy and the other emerging technologies. So again, when we are talking about 2-3 things over here, that is we have trust, India US trust, then Indus, earlier there was this Indus X, now we have Indus. So they will be going for Indus innovation. Okay, now they will be going for the Indus innovation. So these terminologies you should remember. Then coming to the pharma sector, they will be going for the collaboration and the launch of the strategic mineral recovery initiative, a new US India cooperative program to recover and the process critical minerals. So please remember that the strategic mineral recovery initiative between India and USA. So this is basically almost all the things which has been discussed in this bilateral talks which has been held between USA's president and India's PM. Okay, defense cooperation we have already talked about. Herein specifically speaking, you will be seeing that there will be a sale of F-35 Sleeth fighter jets to India, then India to procure 6 additional P-8I maritime surveillance aircrafts, new 10 years framework for US-India major defense partnership, joint defense manufacturing and technology sharing agreement which we have already talked about, review of international traffic in the arm regulation, ITAR we have already talked about it, we have talked about Asia. Okay, so that is something from defense point of view which is important for you. Extraction of the Tahavur Rana. Now Tahavur Rana is a person who was involved in the Mumbai attacks. You must have heard about the 26/11. So that is your Mumbai attacks, Taj attacks. So in that particular person, that is Tahavur Rana, was involved and he was having this shelter in USA, and now there was this extradition which has been confirmed by the Supreme Court of USA. So that person will be brought to India. Okay, trade and economic cooperation which we have already talked about, the Mission 500. Mission 500 is to enhance the trade to 500 billion US dollars by 2030. So that is something which you should remember. Then coming to the next one, that is reciprocal tariff. We will be talking about that later. Okay. So energy security and the nuclear cooperation, we have already talked about that as well in the 123 civil nuclear agreement and the nuclear reactor construction in India. EIA I have already mentioned about. Okay. So this is about mostly your India USA meet. Okay. Coming to the next one, why gas rather than oil could be the route for rising India and India's energy imports from the USA. Okay. So now right now when we talk about the energy, so you will be saying that there are coal, then we have gas, then we have oil, all these things are there. Okay. So here, why gas rather than the oil? Mostly first thing that we have focused on the, you can say, renewable energy sector. So we will be going for that. Okay. So that is one of the reason. Otherwise also when we talk about this you can say India US relations, you know that India is having a surplus and Mr. Trump has this tendency that you have to go for the reciprocity. Now considering that we have to increase our imports with USA, if we have to increase our imports with USA, why not go for gas? Okay, so that will be renewable resource and that can be helpful for India as well. So let's see, India and the United States have agreed to take steps towards making Washington a leading supplier of oil and gas to India help bridge the trade deficit between the two countries. Okay, India is already a significant buyer of American oil and gas. US is the fifth largest supplier of the crude oil, although its market share has been low since in a single digit. Okay, so that is a different story, but it is also one of the supplier. Washington is also New Delhi's second largest supplier of the liquefied natural gas LNG. Okay, so here you can see, if we talk about the supply by volume, so Russia, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, UAE and US. These are the 5 countries from which we are, they are the 5 top supplier in the terms of the volume. Now, when we talk about the top 5 LNG supplier, this is your crude oil. These are your crude oil suppliers. So maximum oil we are taking from Russia as of now, then Iraq, then Saudi Arabia, UAE and USA. Okay. Now, when we talk about LNG, so we are having from Qatar, USA, UAE, Angola and Nigeria. Now, I can't expect from you to remember all the 5 names, but you should first thing, and if you can't, at least top 3 you should remember: Russia, Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Okay, and when we talk about the LNG, Qatar, USA and UAE, these are something which you should remember. Now, moving further to the next part, that is reciprocal tariffs. Now, there was this topic which has been there, that the USA is going for the reciprocal tariffs. Okay, not only on India, other countries as well. So let's see what is reciprocal tariff. The USA will impose the same tariff rates on imports as other countries are imposing on the US export. Now, what is tariff? Now, this is one country, this is second country. Whenever one country is sending something, let's say some ABC product they are sending. Okay, now before entering into their country, there are some kind of tariff which is applied. Let's say this particular product A is sold at a price that is in dollars, if we talk about $1. Okay, an Indian market that is being sold at somewhere around $2. Okay, but the thing is, if USA is sending it for $1, so what exporters what importers will do is that they will be taking it from USA and flooding the Indian market. Okay, so to avoid that, what they have to do is that at this particular juncture, when it is entering into India, what they will do is they will impose an extra tariff, that is $1 over here, then excess tariff of extra tariff of $1 will be added, so that in the domestic market the same price is there. Okay, so these are the tariffs which is there. So now USA is saying that if India is imposing us a tariff of rupees or you can say $1, we will be going for the same thing. Okay, so that is reciprocal tariff. So US will impose the same tariff rates on imports as other countries impose on the US exports. This could change the global trade rules and impact many countries including India. What are tariffs? As I just told you, that tariffs are the taxes on the imported goods. Okay, so there is a good which is from America which is going into India. So over here you will be seeing that whatever extra tax is imposed, that is your tariff. Okay, so taxes on the imported goods, making them more expensive. Why? Because the domestic demand or the domestic rate is more than what they are giving you. Countries use tariffs to protect the local industry and the control imports. Local industry, how they are? Because let's say in the Indian industry, there is one product which is being manufactured at ₹100 and which is being sold at ₹120. Okay, the same product from China which is coming to India at a rate of, let's say, ₹50, and that can be sold at a profit of, let's say, 30 rupees or 40 rupees at 90. If they are talking about selling it at 90 rupees, so the Indian domestic product is being sold at 120, so there will be a excess demand of this particular product which is coming from China. What will happen is that ultimately the imports from China will increase because everyone will be purchasing this at 90 rupees. To avoid that, what India will do is that to these 50 rupees which is there, which are coming from China, they will add another 50 rupees over here, so that the domestic rate is same. Okay, so considering that, they are trying to, you can say, support the local industry as well as the controlling the imports that is there. Why it is necessary to control the imports? That is to avoid the deficit. Okay, so that is there. Why is the US imposing the reciprocal tariffs? Because US believes that there are countries which are charging higher tariffs on the American you can say goods like Harley Davidson or the you can say the walnuts etc., which are coming from America. So there are high tariffs which is there. America is thinking like that. Other than that, also America is facing trade deficit with the various various countries. Okay, considering that they are going for the reciprocal tariffs over here. So the US believes that some countries charge high tariffs on American products than what US charge on their goods. The goal is to make trade fair and encourage foreign companies to manufacture in the USA. Now, how it will increase the foreign countries to manufacture in USA? Because if USA is going for additional import tax or the tariffs, so what will happen is that their product will become you can say expensive in the US market. So what they will do is that the company itself will come and operate inside USA, and so that they will be manufacturing at the lower price and there is no tariff at all. So that is how they will be you can say incentivizing the companies who are foreign companies, and they can come and produce in USA. Impact on India, if we talk about, so India charges high tariffs on some US products like Harley Davidson and the walnuts, etc. If India lowers the tariffs, it might import more US goods. Okay, so if tariffs are lower, that means that people will go for the more imports, so like oil, gas and the machinery, that will happen like that. And a stronger Indian rupee could lead to more American products entering the market. So more American products will be there in the market. Trade deficit concern, as I told you that USA is having trade deficit with various countries, and considering that they are going for the reciprocal tariffs. Okay, so that is about India USA today. Now let's talk about the next part, that is basically key shift in India Afghanistan trade since Taliban takeover in 2021. Exports slumps, imports surge. Okay, so here what has been observed, much is not important, the data is not important for you. What has been observed over here, that in the last few days, okay, exports has increased, imports has increased from Afghanistan under Taliban's rule. Okay, so key shift in India Afghanistan trade since Taliban takeover in 2021. Export slumps, what we are sending is going down, but the imports are surging. Okay, so let's see what is happening. India's exports to Afghanistan dropped significantly from 825.78 million US dollar to 355.45 million US dollars. So that is something which you can say that there is a slump which has been seen. Okay, so that is their downward trends has been seen, while the imports has increased the record from 642.29 million US dollar. Okay, so they have actually gone to this particular you can say amount value, this particular value. Okay, so here you can see somewhere around this, therefore there when we are talking about 510 or something or 529 or something, that has increased to 642.29. okay, so that is being seen over here in the data, that the trade in Afghanistan, trade with Afghanistan has taken an interesting turn over here. So let's see why. Major Indian imports from Afghanistan includes the figs. Okay, anjeer you must have heard about, asafoetida, that is basically your hing. Okay, then coming to the apple, saffron, dry fruits, saffron is basically your kesar. Okay, dry fruits and the medicinal herbs. So these are something which is coming from Afghanistan. Recent years what you have seen, that the dry fruits has been, the consumption of dry fruits has increased. Why? Because after COVID people are concerned about the immunity. So that is something, saffron, apple, hing, all these products are having a demand in the Indian market. Afghanistan has become the major supplier of apple to India, surpassing Italy and USA. Indian exports fell due to potential instability, payment difficulties and change in the trade policy, mainly affecting the medicine, apparel and the agricultural products. So since there is a issue which is going on in Afghanistan, because of which Indian exports has declined. Okay, so that is their Afghan dry fruits imports surged due to the high demand and easier trade via the Wagah border. So that is one thing. Second is India's dry fruit industry is growing at 15 to 20% annually with significant import from Afghanistan, because of which you can say the import has increased and exports has declined. Okay, next is, in a first, Darjeeling Zoo gets a biobank to collect the cell, tissues and samples. Okay, so what is happening over here, that first biobank means that what they will do is that they will be taking the samples or the gametes or the you can say cells from the animals, and they will store it over here in the Darjeeling Zoo. In the upcoming time they will go for the expansion in other zoo as well, but right now this is there is this zoo in Darjeeling, that is Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park, that is also known as the Darjeeling Zoo, which is there in West Bengal. Okay, now Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park. Now this particular location becomes important for you in the exam, they can ask you about this. Okay, so that is something, as a part of the national program, country's first biobank in a zoo is up and running in Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park in Darjeeling Zoo. that is their Center for Cellular and the Molecular Biology, that is CCMB, that is Hyderabad based institution under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Facility collects and preserves cells and tissues from the endangered animals and as well as reproductive cells from the diseased animals. Okay, what is the idea over here? Those who are endangered or those who are on the verge of extinction, what we are doing is that we are collecting their samples, we are collecting their cells, so that we can preserve that, okay, and then we can reintroduce the population. Okay, so that is the idea over here. So here the future research and the potentially even bring back the critically endangered species that have gone extinct or are on the verge of the extinction. So those who are in the threat, we are trying to keep their gametes, we are trying to keep their biological information, so that we can try, reintroduce their population. The biobank is also known as the frozen zoo. Frozen zoo, why? Because whatever samples we are taking, we are keeping that at a temperature that is minus 196 degrees Celsius, minus 196 degrees Celsius, we are keeping them frozen. So that is why it is called as the frozen zoo. Okay, established last year in July. Till date, DNA material, cellular and the tissue samples from 60 animals of 23 species has been collected. So that is there. We also are collecting the gametes from the dead animals. All samples are being preserved in at a minus 196 degrees Celsius liquid nitrogen in the cryogenic state, liquid nitrogen in cryogenic state. So that is something which you should remember. Now genetic diversity of the species to be maintained. If there is a species which is at the threat of going extinct, in that case they will be keeping their gametes. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next one, this is there in West Bengal, which we have already discussed. Here you can see conservation breeding centers for animals like red panda, which is there in the Darjeeling Zoo, planning to set up such biobanks in the other zoos as well, that is National Zoo in Delhi and the Nandankanan Zoo in Odisha. Okay, so these two names you can remember, Nandankanan and the Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park. Okay, then coming to the next one, animals like American black footed ferret, which had once only 8 individuals left, once declared extinct but revived through the captive breeding using the preserved DNA. So earlier that has been done. Its first clone was made in public in 2021 using the DNA preserved since 1988. So that has been done in the past, that can be done in the future. Okay, so here next you can see the northern one-horned rhino, the last male member died in 2018, are being brought back through this particular process. Okay, so here two species becomes important for you, that is American black footed ferret. Okay, then second is the northern one-horned rhino. Okay, northern one-horned rhino becomes even more important with respect to that. Okay, so that is about the frozen zoo. Now coming to the next one, Nepal is a marginal producer of the commodity. A 14-fold jump in the soybean oil imports and from Nepal triggers the red flags in the India. Now when we are talking about the soya products, your duty is to go through the condition where soybean is grown. Your duty is that what is the larger, or you can say who is the largest producer in India. Okay, in which part soybean is being produced. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, when we talk about the edible oils, okay, for edible oils we are basically dependent on the imports, which you should know. And right now what has been seen, that the imports from the, you can say, Nepal has increased. When we talk about the soybean production, so imports from Nepal has been increasing, while the imports from Argentina and Brazil, that has been declining. Okay, so here you can see, when we talk about the Argentina, the imports has increased from 978 to 1750. Okay, so there is an incline, you can say increase over here, and that is 78.79%, which is fine. Coming to the next one, Brazil, the imports has been declining from you can say 849 or 850 to 549 or 550. Okay, so there is a 35% decline over there. But when we talk about Nepal, the import has been increasing from 2.81 you can say to here 38.15. Okay, so now the problem is that there is a 1260% jump in the you can say Nepal and India oil import. Okay, so considering that, there is a concern that Nepal is not a producer of such particular crop, Nepal is not a major producer of such crop, then how is that they are supplying such you can say oil. Okay, now the thing is, there is a concept of country of origin. Okay, so that is there. The country of origin concept is that the country from where, let's say Nepal, we know that Nepal is not a producer of that, but Brazil is. So what Nepal can do is that, or Brazil or Nepal, China is also a good producer of soybean. Okay, so what Nepal is doing, that they are taking it from China and then sending it to India, because India and Nepal has a treaty. Nepal has a trade treaty, but with China we are we are kind of having this reluctance to go for the purchase from China. Now what is happening is that these are something which might be the speculations, that these can be a reason. Right now there is an investigation which is going on, but these are the concern which has been raised, that if Nepal is not such a big producer, how it is exporting the soybean oil to India. Okay, so there are high chances that Nepal is taking soybean from XYZ country or the China and then supplying it to India, because of which they are not following the country of origin norm. Okay, country of origin means that the country where the product has originated. Okay, so when we talk about the bilateral trade, etc., we have this you can say term or the provision that that particular person should be mentioning the country of origin as well. Okay, so that is there. So considering that is something which has been in the news now, because of which soybean becomes important for you. You can say major suppliers of soybean becomes important, major producer of soybean becomes important for you. Okay, so soybean oil import saw a 14-fold surge in the neighboring country Nepal during the April-November period in 2024 compared to the previous year. Kathmandu remain a marginal producer of the commodity, yet they are supplying such a quantity. Overall, soybean imports in India are showing a rising trend, because I told you for edible oils we are import dependent. Brazil is one of the top producer of the commodity, has registered a drop in the exports, which we have just seen over here, result of the possible faulting on the rules of the country, rules of origin by the Nepal over here, which we have already seen. Tariff arbitrage that country enjoys due to the zero duty access for its products to India under the Nepal-India Treaty of Trade. Okay, Nepal-India Treaty of Trade, which has been signed in 2009, and Nepal has on certain products zero duty is there, and because of which they might be exploiting that. Okay, so that is there. China is one of the largest exporter of the soybean oil, does not export to India directly. Now that is what they have said, that directly China does not export to India, but there might be a chance that Nepal is taking from China and they are exporting it to India. So that is there. Under Nepal-India Treaty of Trade signed in 2009, the duty-free access into India's market for all Nepali manufactured good is provided on a non-reciprocal basis. Non-reciprocal means that India will be giving tariffs. India will, when we are talking about the Indian exports, there will be some kind of tariff that can be there, but we are providing duty-free access to our market. So that is there. That is, some kind of here foreign policy is playing a role. So that is there. So this is the issue which has been raised over here. Okay, this is something whatever we have discussed, I have wrote it over here, so you can go through that. Now coming to the next part over here, there is a passing reference. The surge in sighting of the rare migratory birds in the capital defies the national trends. When we talk about the recent national trend, in the winters we did not see much of the migration of these birds from outer parts to India, but in the capital, that is in the vicinity of Delhi, we have realized that there are increasing, or you can say trend, which are showing an uptick in the number of the migratory birds. Why is that? Because they are going for the revival of the ecosystem over here, and that is why the birds are coming to Delhi. While the overall count of the migratory birds across the country in the winters has been low, restored ecosystem in the capital have defined the national trends in the rare sighting. Okay, so here big bird they count was there, and under that they have realized that there is a increase or the uptick in the migratory birds which has visited Delhi. Okay, uptick in the 4 of the 7 DDA biological parks, that is Kalindi Biodiversity Park, Yamuna Biodiversity Park, or Tilpath Valley Biodiversity Park, which has been seen. Here some of the species are mentioned. I have written the names over here: common roach finch, Eurasian wagon. When we talk about the ferruginous pochard, Pallas gull, black rumped flambeck, red crested pochard, all these things, you should just go through these particular names. They might ask you in a group like 3-4 names they can give, and they will be asking that whether they are local birds or the, you can say, outside birds, so that you can remember. So that is all is from this particular article. Coming to the next one, passing reference to Macron to host emergency European summit on Ukraine. When US president has said that they will be going for the Ukraine peace process and they will be talking to you can say Russia in Saudi Arabia, but Ukraine will not be part of that. Okay, and not even the European countries cannot be part of it, because they do not have much to do with that. Now considering that European countries like France, they have actually gone for a summit. They are saying that they will be talking about the Ukrainian issue in the European summit. So that is there, various leaders will be attending that. Okay, so that is something which has happened because of the Mr. Trump's statement, where he has said that they do not have any role to do in the peace process. Okay, coming to the next one, US Russia to meet in Saudi Arabia over the Ukraine war, which I just told you that they will be meeting over here. So US Russia official to meet in the Saudi Arabia for the Ukraine war talks. Ukraine was not invited. Kyiv refused to engage with Russia without allies. Okay, so what they have said that first allies should have a, you can say, precursor talks, and then they will be part of it. Russia intensifies the attacks in the eastern Ukraine, advancing in the Donetsk, and then here US, Russia and the Middle Eastern nation discussing the war with Russia gains ground. Okay, so that is something which has been given over here. That is just a, you can say, passing reference I have given. Now for your own read, there are 2-3 articles which is there. First is that what are Indian sovereign green bonds? For that we have already talked about in the previous session only. So that is why I have not taken this particular reason. You know why these bonds are not in demand, because obviously they are not offering the kind of you can say yield as compared to the normal bonds. Okay, so that is there. When we talk about the green bonds, they are basically the way through which the government is basically going for raising money for the projects which are there in the field of the renewable energy or the green energy. Okay, so that is your green bonds. If you have not seen the last video, you can go through that particular video, or you can read this particular article. Okay, coming to the next one, Chhattisgarh High Court extend marital rape exception. Why this matters? Okay, this particular issue has been given the passing reference, and you can go through this. Here they have talked about the section 375, 377. Okay, that is basically related to rape, and you can say what they have said that in India marital rape concept is not there. Okay, so considering that unnatural sexual intercourse which has been done by a husband, which will also not be a rape, which has been said by the Chhattisgarh High Court back then. So you can go through this particular article. Okay, so that is, I would suggest that is kind of a regressive you can say process, but anyways you can go through that particular article. Coming to the next one, Prime Minister Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana scheme and needs and what are the aims. Okay, this scheme becomes highly important for your prelims examination, or as a matter of fact when we talk about the agriculture, that becomes important for you. We have discussed this scheme various times when we were discussing the budget. Okay, in the special video of the budget I have discussed that. I have discussed that in the live analysis of the newspaper, wherein we have talked about this. So you can go through this particular scheme as well. Okay, so that is the today's session. Herein the practice question was given to you in the previous lecture, that is about the sovereign green bonds. I told you that we have discussed that, so you can go through this. Funding defense projects, financing environmentally sustainable projects. So option B would be your right answer over here. Okay, coming to the today's question over here, which two landscapes play a crucial role in Delhi's biodiversity restoration? Okay, Yamuna Bank and the Aravalli Range, Sundarban Delta and the Western Ghats, Ganges Plain in the Nilgiris, Thar Desert and the Deccan Plateau. Now with your common sense also you can solve this particular question. Okay, so with that I would like to take your leave, and if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. One more thing, that if you have not seen the PYQ analysis series, now go ahead and watch that. Already 2 episodes are out, and we will be coming with the further episodes in the few days. Okay, so with that, have a nice day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.